Project Zomboid is an incredible game with in-depth mechanics, a gigantic map to explore, and overall just a ton of things to do. You'll never get to experience any of that if you die in the first 5 minutes, so my goal today is to make a beginner's guide that is simple enough for your grandmother to follow to get you past that initial hump where the game really starts to open up. So, without further ado, I'm going to hop right in to a solo game. I'm just going to play on default Apocalypse, but there's no shame in dropping the difficulty down to Survivor, Builder, or even making your own custom sandbox. That's what they're there for, just to get you acclimated to the game, so don't feel like you need to play on Apocalypse, but it's what I'm used to, so I'm going to go with that. As a starting town, Echo Creek is pretty good. It was just added in Build 42. But if you are still on Build 41, or you just want to stick with the classics, Rosewood is a long-time staple of new players. It's got pretty much everything you would need in a small-ish town. Not too many zombies. There's a gas station, there's a fire station, police station. And generally just, it's a nice place to start. Now, as far as your character's traits, there's a lot of traits in this game, and you can probably ignore like 90% of them. I would start out by taking thin-skinned and, where is it? Weak stomach and slow healer. And the reason I suggest these is because 9 times out of 10, if you're getting, like, attacked by a zombie and you get hit, you're probably gonna die anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you take thin-skinned, and it'll give you 8 points to spend on different traits. Some of the things that I like to take are Cat's Eyes and Dexterous, as you can see better at night, and it lets you do things at night instead of just having to stay inside. And Dexterous is just nice to have to transfer things in large quantities. For a new player, one thing I would recommend, if I could find it, is not that one. Ah, there we go. Keen Hearing. So Keen Hearing will let you hear zombies from further away, but more importantly, it helps you see behind you if there's a zombie coming behind you. A lot of times, if you're new, you might not notice or might not hear the zombies coming, and they'll just get you, so Keen Hearing is a good way to mitigate that. I'd also recommend just taking Strong. It lets you carry more, it lets you hit harder. It's just useful for learning the game. And we've got 2 points left over, so let's see what we can do. We'll just take Outdoorsy. This means you can stand outside in the rain and it won't really affect you very much. I'm not going to pick any occupations, just because that gives you more points to spend. But if you're interested, you could pick something like Lumberjack, and if you find an axe, you are basically the Terminator. You can mow down zombies like no other. But since I'm focusing this on new players, and you don't necessarily know where the fire stations are, I think this is a good loadout for you. We're just going to random a couple times, and sure, Denise Puente, you are our tutorial character. This is how you died. So, one tip that I would give before we even get in is don't get too attached to your characters. If you're a new player, you're gonna die. It's just gonna happen. You're getting used to the mechanics, you're getting used to how the zombies work, you're getting used to everything. So, don't get too attached, and don't get too discouraged if you die. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is run over and turn this TV off. You just click on it, click turn off. It was playing on max volume. We don't want any attention right away. One thing to note is that zombies will never spawn in the house that you spawn in, which is nice. You can at least loot one house without having any combat. However, that doesn't mean a zombie didn't spawn like right outside this window and can hear the TV blasting. So it varies how much time you have to loot the house. I'm going to start out by just looting the kitchen. Sometimes you can find some good stuff in there. Weapons to use. A bread knife is a weapon. It's not great, but it's something. Let's see. Canned pineapple's not really going to help us very much. We're not hungry yet. You can always look out the windows to see if anybody's nearby. Doesn't look like it. So I'm just going to walk around and continue looting the place. Hopefully we can find something to defend ourselves with, but if not, we can always go the stealth route. I hear something. Ah, a couple zombies having a snack over there. That's alright, they won't come for us. I'm going to grab this sheet. In Build 42, you can right-click it and turn it into a sheet sling bag. Put that on your back, and you've got a nice carrying bag. Build 42 spawns you in with ammo and magazines and a pistol. I'm just going to drop those. Those are for mostly testing the new gun system, and we don't need to do that. So, let's see if we can find anything. A sad letter, that's unfortunate. I'm going to pick up this pencil here. It'll allow us to actually make marks on the map. Like so. If you press M, you can bring up the map, and there's all these icons you can use. You can add words. I'm just going to put this here to signify that's where we started. Now, continuing to loot the house, not really finding much of use. And that's pretty standard. You're not always going to find a weapon in your first house. Let's check back downstairs, see if we can find anything. And this house actually has a basement as well, which is nice. Alright, a saxophone. You know what? That's going to be our weapon. It says it doesn't do that bad damage. I mean, if you compare it to the bread knife, it's almost twice as much damage. I can't speak to the durability of saxophones. We'll hope it lasts longer than a few hits. Most of the actions in the game can be done with the mouse, so you can just click on these light switches to turn them on. You can click on doors to open them. There's a rat in the basement. It kind of scared me a little bit because I'm not used to the animals. If you don't like clicking on the doors, you can also press E when you're close to them to open or close them. And we've got some freezers down here with ice cream. Delicious. Not very useful right now. Let's see. Planks. A box of nails is really good, but we're quite limited on inventory space at the moment. Wooden rod. Oh. Oh my. Okay. So, there's a lot of ammo here. That is not... This is not what you expect on your first time loading in the game. I'm just going to leave that all here because it's a bunch of ammo with none of the guns. But using our handy-dandy pencil, we can add a note here and say, tons of ammo. Okay, so we found a weapon, I suppose. But I'm not going to go out and assume I can fight a million zombies. In general... Especially starting off, you want to fight one at a time, maybe two. If it gets to more than 3 chasing you, you're probably not in the best shape. So let's head out and see what we're dealing with. Not much. There's a few wandering around, but not too bad. Decent number over there, but we'll leave them alone for now. I'm using the scroll wheel to scroll out and in just to get a better idea of the area around. Let's just walk over to this next house. Okay, there's a few more. Oh, there's a few more than I anticipated. So let's work on combat. Now, there's a cheesy way to do it and a normal way to do it. The cheesy way is just to hide behind a fence, wait for them to climb over, and I missed. And that's why it's kind of dangerous. But that's okay, we have a saxophone. And we took out 2 zombies. Let's try that again. There we go. You gotta give it a second. The hitboxes are a little janky over fences. But there's quite a few coming for us, and while I think I could take them on, a new player would probably be a bit overwhelmed by this. So, one important thing is don't run. If you run, you're going to end up attracting even more attention, and it's going to be even harder to lose them. What you want to do is find somewhere that you can break the line of sight that the zombies have on you. I'm going to try, since there's no zombies in front of this house, I'm going to try getting into this house and then escaping out the back. Door's locked. Door's locked. How about the window? Window open. Now, because this isn't our starting house, there might be zombies inside, so we have to be cautious about that. Doesn't look like there are any, though. So I'm going to slip out this window. And walk right through these trees, trying not to touch the trees because you can get injured. But there we go. Those zombies are going to have some trouble finding me. You can see they broke that window over there, which can actually be a blessing because it'll draw zombies towards the window. There's one there. Looks like one made it through. So here's your intro to combat. Try to keep your cursor where the zombie is. You can press spacebar to push, or you can left click to attack. Getting collapsed on, and there goes our saxophone. Okay, maybe we'll go over combat in a little bit. But you can see I'm not panicking, I'm just walking away. Even the quicker zombies, you can set them to just being shamblers, but even the quicker zombies, as long as they're not sprinters, which are off by default, won't catch you at a walking speed. So, no need to panic, just walk away. See if we can get in here. I hear, yep, some friends. So even without a weapon, you can still fight. Press spacebar to push, and if you press spacebar again when you're standing on top of them, you can stomp on them. So let's see if we can take these out unarmed. That's 2. That's 3. I know what the death sounds sound like, but you might not when you're starting out, so just keep stomping until you can't stomp no more. And you see the keen hearing really paying off there. I didn't know there was a zombie there. This seems like a bit too much to handle, so we're just gonna continue on our merry way. And there's a reason that a lot of people don't make it past this early phase. It's not easy. Especially because it spawns you inside of a town. There can be any number of zombies nearby. Oh, look it. He's in the bush. Scary. We're gonna use fence strats here. Again, just holding right click so that I can aim at where the zombie's gonna come over the fence. They can lunge at you, and if they get you good, they can knock you over. So it's important to step on them before they do that. But if multiple are coming over the fence at the same spot, then it's no longer safe. So don't be afraid to just book it. I mean, it's... sometimes that's the best option. Are you dead or fake dead? Looks like dead. Still looking for anything we can use as a weapon. We have a bread knife, but I know from experience that bread knives are not the greatest. A trophy, I can't hit people with that, unfortunately. What's in the briefcase? So what I did there is I was looting this cabinet, and if you click and drag something and just drag it outside of the window, it'll drop it on the ground. And with things like briefcases or bags, it'll allow you to loot those without having to do anything else fancy. And I see some work boots here. Work boots are nice. They give you nice bite and scratch defense. Great for stomping heads. And since that's our main method of combat right now, it's a good find. When I'm looting houses, I like to go slowly and hold right-click to get an attack ready, and then just press E to open doors. That way, if there is someone standing right behind the door, I'm already ready to push them down if needed and not get bit. Our hunt for a weapon continues. Oh, hello. Come on over. And we get to stomping. So it looks like we're heading towards the outskirts of town. Lots more trees. And that's okay. And I think the outskirts of town is a good place to set up shop. Again, holding right-click to keep my aimer on the guy. Spacebar to push him down. Spacebar to stomp his head. And you can see we've already killed 13 zombies with a saxophone and our feet. So one at a time is fine. You can handle that. And looks like this guy had a digital watch on him, so we're going to take that, right-click it, wear on left wrist or right wrist. It's completely up to you. And this symbol means there is an alarm set, so I'm just going to click that and turn it off. We don't want an alarm going off without us knowing about it. Alright, nothing useful there. He's got something sticking out of him. What do we got? A fillet knife? Alright. Again, not the best weapon. One thing new in Build 42, sometimes you can find these flyers inside of mailboxes or elsewhere, and if you read them, it'll give you a location on the map where it's located. So you can see down here, it's in West Point, Kentucky, in this house. If you click on this map button down here, it'll show you where it is on the map. And that is really far from us. All the distance we've covered is just right here, and West Point is all the way over there. I hear a friend coming, so let's not be in the map while we're doing that. What a nice jacket you got there. And I almost died. So you see how quickly it can happen. Thankfully, the fight animation didn't finish. Up in the top right here, you'll see some moodles. These are just basically telling you the status of your character. Slightly thirsty and peckish, don't really do anything. They're just letting you know, hey, you're getting hungry and thirsty. But this one is pretty bad. We're a brand new character, so we don't have any experience built up, no fitness. So we get out of breath pretty quickly, and being out of breath makes it harder to fight. So if you see that, you want to avoid fights the best you can. Pressing E to open the window, and closing it again, because I pressed it too many times. Alright, let's see what we've got in here. Now, another way to safely clear out houses is you can aim at the door and press spacebar to shove the door. And if there's any zombies in either of those two rooms, now they'll come to the door and start banging on it. Doesn't look like there's anything of use inside these, but we can right-click on the sink, hover over Chrome Sink, and take a drink. That gets rid of our dry mouth. Empty bathroom, and another empty room. So not the best house here. Looks like this one was abandoned or planned for sale or something. So we'll just move on to the next one. In general, I would avoid walking through trees. The line of sight blocking of the trees can be very helpful when getting away from zombies, but it can also be a disaster because a zombie could be hiding behind one of the trees and he'll get you. So, taking the cautious route, walking through the middle there. I also like to take corners wide because if there, let's say there was a zombie sitting right here, I can't see him until I'm right here. And that might be too close. So if you take the turns wide, it'll reveal the area a lot faster or a lot further away so that you can be a bit more safe. And that's really what the early game's about, is just maximizing your safety, making sure you don't put yourself in bad situations. Let's see. I see this TV is on. It's at 3 volume, so it's not going to be blasting. So we can just leave it as is. Butter knife not going to be very effective. Alright, we've got some options now. Rolling pin is surprisingly good in this game. It'll last quite a while, but we'll take this griddle pan as well, just as a backup. We got orange soda, steak. We're going to make some food. So I clicked on the fridge to see what's inside. We've got an oven here, so what you can do is click and drag the steak onto the oven icon. It'll put it in the oven. Click on the oven and click turn on at the top here. Now that's going to take a little bit to cook, and don't forget about it, because if you leave the oven on you might end up burning down the house. But while we're waiting for that to cook, I have a general idea of how long it'll take. We'll just check out the rest of the rooms and make sure we're not in any danger. Looks like we're good. So while we wait, here's another thing that you can do. I wouldn't focus on this as a new player, because you're probably going to die and it's not going to matter. But at 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. on the Life and Living TV channel, you can select it with the channel drop down and then click tune in. You can find shows that will improve your skills in some way. Now, this one is playing because of a bug. I don't know if it's intended, but this is the show at noon that's playing now. This is almost done. So you can see I'm learning carpentry skill just by watching this TV show. In Build 42, it does cap out at level 3, but that's pretty good. You can see we're almost at level 1 already. And I can hear a zombie somewhere, but they're not banging on the windows just yet, so it's not a problem. Yet. I'm just gonna eat this whole steak. I wouldn't... You don't really need to eat a whole steak if you're just a little hungry, but that's alright. Let's take another drink from the sink as we're getting dry mouth. And let's go see where our friend is coming from. Again, taking that wide angle, and they're banging on the window. If you let them keep doing that, they'll break the window. We don't want that. So here I'm using shoves, hoping to knock them down. They fell down. Now I could hold right click and hit them with the rolling pin, but just to save durability and save some muscle strain, we're gonna keep stomping. Alright. And it looks like everything else nearby is safe. Except for that guy over there, but he's just chilling. We don't really need to worry about him just yet. So, this seems like a great place for a safe house. So again, I press M to open the map. The little red dot is me. So, I'm going to put a house icon here. And since we looted this house, we can X that out as well. Just to notify ourselves that if we log off and come back on and we've forgotten what we've done, we don't need to go back there. It is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Show's not coming on yet, so I'm just gonna look around and see what we're dealing with. What I like to do is establish a safe house like this one, and then just expand outwards from there. Tough guy. You can see how long it takes to kill someone with just a rolling pin. It's not always going to take that long, but it can. So that's why fighting multiple zombies at once can get a little bit sketchy. So, since the next closest house is across the street, even though we've already been in there, I want to look around the area and see if there's any friends. I'm going to break my own rule and walk through the trees here. I was pretty confident there were no zombies there. But if I died, it would have been an excellent lesson to learn. And we can hear somebody banging on something. Alright. There's one guy there. She's banging on this window here. You let them do that enough, they'll break the window, draw zombies to you. We don't want that. Doors similarly can be broken by zombies, but it takes a lot more time. Lucky there. First push. And first stop. That's all we needed. Okay, so I'm gonna press shift to start running. I know I said not to run, but we're about to miss our Life in Living Channel TV show, and that's unacceptable. So I'm even gonna hit Alt to start sprinting. If there's any zombies nearby, they will definitely hear and or see us doing this, but we've been pretty thorough. Right-click on this chair, click rest, sit down. We're a little out of breath from that running, so this will help out. And this is definitely not one of the learning shows. Might just be a commercial. Skip ahead a little bit. There we go, exposure survival. I'm just going to skip past this. You can read it if you'd like. But this is teaching us fishing. Not very useful in Rosewood. There's not many fishing spots around here, but good to know. Take another drink from the sink. And let's see, we've got a couple hours until it gets dark. We can do some good work in that time. If you've played the tutorial, you know what's going to happen, but I'm going to hit Q here, which is something I wouldn't recommend unless you know you're pretty safe.
Hey!
And that'll call any zombies within, maybe like this far, to our location. I saw one standing over here. I'm not sure if it heard me, but that's who I was trying to draw over. Hard to say. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We've got a broken down car here. With metalworking equipment, you can dismantle this car wreck, but we don't have any of that equipment or skills, so we're just gonna not worry too much about it. Ah, there he is. He did hear me after all. Let's go take care of that before it becomes a problem. Oh, see, there's multiple. That's why you gotta be careful. A smack does a little bit more damage. We gotta go quick. Yeah, okay, we're getting a little bit collapsed on here. Let's use the fence. Best defense is a good fence, as they say. Alright, the ground targeting can be a little funky with multiple. That's why I recommend only taking on one at a time. Come on. There we go. Taking a quick look around, just so we're not getting snuck up on. And give it a good stop. I hear another. Hello. But you can see as long as you space them out, you can take on multiple zombies. It's just when they start to clump up that it gets a little bit sketchy. And there's another one, and another one, and another one. Okay, see, this is why Q is dangerous. With great power comes great responsibility. This moodle just means it's starting to stink a little bit. Not a problem yet. But if it gets more red, more intense, then it'll start to be an issue. Come on over. Give him a good stomp. Take your time. Alright. So, a little scary, but by doing that, we've ensured that a lot of the area around our safe house is cleared out. So, pros and cons. It is about 8 p.m. now. It hasn't gotten dark quite yet, but I think there's a limit to how much we're going to get done in the time that's left. So, I'm just going to head back inside. Take another drink. And I like to, just for flavor reasons, go into the bathroom to do this, but if you right-click on the bath, just like a sink, you can drink from it, but we're going to tick the wash and start washing ourselves up, get the blood off. It generally doesn't do anything unless your character has the fear of blood trait, but cleanliness is important. Just, you know, on a base level. Speed up time a little bit here. Now, one thing that's good about this house that we found is that all of the windows already have sheets on them. And what you can do is right-click on the window, and you could remove the curtains if you wanted the sheet, but we can close the curtains here. I'm going to turn this light on. Close these curtains. Close these curtains. And I see one more window in the bedroom. Make sure the light's on so I don't go blind. And close curtains. So now no light's going to escape this house. Light can attract zombies during the night. They'll see it, they'll come towards it, and you might get a rude awakening if you're trying to sleep. So if your house that you're in does not have sheets on the windows, you can go around to other houses and right-click, remove curtains, and take them back to your house to then right-click, and there should be an option to add curtains if remove curtains isn't an option. And that's how you can put sheets on the windows. Now, there's not a whole lot left to do today, so I'm just going to right-click on the bed and sleep. And that'll pass time quickly. And there we go, we slept till 2 a.m. Now, it's pretty dark outside, but because we took cat eyes, we can still see mostly okay. But with that, we've survived our first night. And a lot of the time, that's the hardest part. So if you made it this far, by following my guide or otherwise, good job. You're ready to continue learning about Zomboid. If this is the kind of series that you're interested in, I could always pick up where we left off and go over what I would do next to try and make our chances of survival better. There's a couple things that you need to be aware of, like the power and water running out eventually. But on day one, not really a pressing issue. So if you watched this video, thank you very much. If you have any questions, throw them down in the comments. If you want to see more, let me know. And until next time, thanks for watching.